Welcome to Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. And of course, good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to the world. Good morning to every corner that our 100,000 watt transmitter transmits to. That is Northeast Texas, Southeast Texas, Southwest Louisiana, folks. We are going to have a great show for you. Remember, this is your show. This is your show, and we will always remember that is what again? Your show. But before we get started and get on board, let's go to our genius in the studio, the person that keeps this station fiery and alive. Buenos dias, el señor Howard. How are you
Well,
doing,
the
sir?
well, the tin cans and string are holding up this morning, so I guess we're going to be okay. I had to
Yes,
shoo
we
all the birds off of it so we didn't get any interference, but we're good.
Yeah, so you got all the birds shut down and you have all the things ready to go. I
Oh
love
yeah,
that. I love that. I love that. I love that. Anyway, I heard Jack is not in the house this morning. That for us is like we are kind of missing that other wing,
I
flying on one
know, I
wing.
know. I was flying in circles because that other wing is not there.
Yeah,
Jack has a doctor's appointment this morning around 9 o'clock, and instead of him driving in this morning and then driving back, I said, just take the day off. It's okay.
yeah,
You do enough for
yes,
us around here. We can afford to give you a day off. And I
yeah.
could not do this. I couldn't do this job without Jack. I really couldn't because he is just on the ball all the time. He even tells me what to do. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Jack is great. I remember when we went out there and had some lunch at the lake, and we're talking, and he has that voice, and I looked at him and I said, "Man, you need to be giving us that word of wisdom every morning, man." He said, "Oh, well," I said, "Yeah, I think so, man. I think so. I think so." But anyway, do we have a word of wisdom from the man, El Señor
Well,
Howard?
I'm not very wise this morning. I'm never very wise this hour of the morning. So and I don't have any rants to go on to. So I guess we're gonna be okay. It's all your show.
Oh, wow. I am impressed. Anyway, folks, give us a call 713-526-5738. Hit number one to contribute, number two to be on air. Look, let me, I'm always wide open and transparent. Today is Thursday. Today is the day that we have Neil Aquino here. And last night, Neil Aquino texted me the things that he was going to talk about. But we don't have Neil Aquino online reading through our broadcast system. And I am, in fact, a bit concerned. So, Neil Aquino, where are you? We are, we want to make sure that you are okay. So, whatever the case is, I'd love to get a text or something saying that you are okay, my friend. Anyway, we are going to have a great show for you today. The additional subject that I wanted to cover today are airline fees and bags, and it's sort of insidious. I'll play that tape a little bit later, but I also want to go into what's going on in Alabama. I think most of you have by now know that the Supreme Court in Alabama pretty much says that and this the implications are serious. Implications are serious. So I think it is important for us to understand that. Wow, I just got a message from Neil that said he was unable to get text. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to play that first video and see if we can go ahead and get Mr. Aquino on. I'll find another way to get him the information. And so here is our first video. Well, it's actually the only video of the day. Let's go ahead and do that. For the longest time, we've been telling you that, as Katie Porter, Representative Katie Porter pointed out, most of inflation always comes as a corporate choice, not because they need to raise the price to cover higher costs or anything like that. They simply charge more before they can. What type of the year it is now? It is around spring break. And what do you think these imperialists, these capitalists with no conscience want to do? We're going to sucker all those kids who are going to go to Florida, who are going to go to California, who are going to go to all these places. We're going to get as much money out of them right near spring break. So what do? They raise the rates of luggage. Now, if you're going to put luggage in there, American going to charge you more, and they're all going to eventually charge you more. They're going to give you the semblance of prices going down, but now you're going to pay to get that luggage there and get that luggage back. A choice to simply make a lot more money for their shareholders and executives. That is the definition of inflation. But what did I say inflation should be called right now? Corporate greed rate. So this is how you increase the corporate greed rate. Check this out.
It's getting more expensive to travel. For the first time in more than 5 years, American Airlines has raised the price to check a bag. NBC senior correspondent Tom Costello has more. Tom.
Good day. Listen, it's no coincidence, right? Airfares dropped over the past 12 months, but American Airlines made $1 billion in revenue just off of their luggage fees last year. So now they're raising those fees. So if you and the family are planning on traveling over spring break, you're going to be booking, you're going to be actually boarding, you're going to be paying more for your luggage. And don't forget, the luggage also goes round trip.
Just in time for spring break and effective immediately, American Airlines is charging more to check luggage. $35 for the first checked bag if in advance paid online. $40 if paying at the airport, up from the current $30 baggage fee. The second checked bag will cost $45, a $5 increase. American is also charging more for checked bags to Canada and Mexico. But passengers can avoid the luggage fees if they hold elite status with American's loyalty program, buy a premium class ticket, or use an American branded credit card.
So this definitely can impact not only just the average consumer wallet, but it really hits home for families that are traveling with multiple bags.
And there's another change. Starting on May 1st, American says customers will only earn frequent flyer points if they buy tickets directly from American. Or
okay, looked like we had some technical
and pay the bills, number two. But really, if you think about it,
we'll get you back on.
Where would we be in Houston without independent, commercial-free community radio being able to air programs like Democracy Now!, like Politics Done Right, and You Talk, and all the music that we play? It's probably, I venture to say, part of your life, if not every morning, as you're doing right now. Then if you're new to KPFT, may become every morning or every day very quickly. It's somewhat infectious. We did get a $240 pledge in the midnight
for the longest
hour,
time. We've been telling you
who that was. We'll get to that information as we can. We have all kinds of great hats and shirts and hoodies and other apparel. We have concert tickets that we'll go over with you a little bit later. We have a coffee combo, which is a pound of Lola Savannah beans, Colombian Supremo beans, and a coffee mug, yours for a $120 pledge to KPFT. And if you break that up into monthly chunks, that's $10 a month, a relatively inexpensive way to support KPFT if you compare to other things that you might be spending $10 a month on. And if you say, hey, KPFT, got the coffee, got the beans, and I just want to keep on giving $10, well, make it a sustainer pledge. And that way, your pledge is going to go a lot further. First off, your pledge is going to be matched with a $50 bill by an anonymous, very generous benefactor of KPFTs. And we can count on that money every month coming in. If enough of us join on a sustaining basis, well, we'll be talking to you a lot less about Fund Drive and a lot more about what we do best, which is our normal KPFT volunteer powered programming. I believe Egberto has joined us now, Howard.
Yes, he has.
Yes, I am.
Hey,
I'm back here. Good morning, Sandy. How are you doing this morning, Sandy? Thanks for covering. I'm not sure why the video didn't show, but thank you for covering. How are you doing this morning?
Well, I'm awake, which is a good thing. Always a good thing when you wake up in the morning on the right side of
I,
the dirt. So it's a great
I,
day already.
hey, so I guess Howard isn't the only one that uses that phrase. And with us now is El Señor Neil Aquino. Good morning, Neil. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, good
Well, it seems I
morning.
don't
Good
think the other
morning. I think
good more.
some
Yeah, I don't think they can hear you on the other side. That's probably on our side here, but that's okay. We are going to try our best to make sure all these connections eventually get made. You know how that goes when you're doing things on the fly. But anyhow, let me tell you, folks. The other subject that we were going to talk about, or the subject that we were going to talk about, are the airlines, and I am not sure exactly why we didn't hear the airline story and why we didn't hear El Señor Aquino. But the important thing is that the show, as you know, must go on. The show, as you know, must go on. Now let's see if Lee can be heard
Well,
right now.
isn't that an abrupt ending right there? The show must go on right in the mid-sentence. Sandy, you're still with us here?
I I am.
Okay, looks
I
like it
was
might be
listening.
you and I doing
We're,
politics done right this morning.
we're having 222
Testing.
gremlins. I'd like to thank Augie for a pledge just after midnight last night, supporting Reach Out in the Darkness, Howard and Laurel Hayden's program for many, many years, a fine music program. Thank you, Augie, for doing that. I don't know if you're awake yet this morning for Politics Done Right, but that was very generous, and that's a very important pledge. It's also a sustaining pledge. It's also a pledge that will put Augie's name in the hat for a pair of tickets, a drawing to go see Lyle Lovett and Jesse Dayton at the smaller than small, remarkably perfectly acoustically intimate
Testing. Testing.
Anderson Fair on April 20th. That's right. Lyle Lovett and Jesse Dayton at Anderson Fair on April 20th. Now, don't get too excited because that show sold out in
Testing.
2 hours. All the tickets were gone so quickly to support KPFT. However, to the winner of a drawing of those signing up as sustainers this drive. I hope that motivates at least one or two of you to put down $5 a month. And if you play the lottery, your odds of winning this are a whole lot better than anything lottery wise. We're looking at maybe 100, 125 sustainers this drive, maybe a little bit more, but really, when you think about 1 in 125 versus 1 in 300 million or whatever your odds are and winning a lottery jackpot, that's a whole lot better. And you don't throw the ticket out when you're done, because regardless of whether you win that drawing or not, you are going to be supporting KPFT and you've won already. Your ears, your mind have won. 713-526-5738.
5738.
There is
I
Egberto again.
I am back. I mean, the Gremlins are really checking in. I'm still trying to get Aquino in, but look, folks. Thank you, Sandy, for saying that. Folks, we're gonna
222.
slowly try to. Yeah, we're gonna try to get Aquino in the long run, but let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the airline piece that I tried to play, because it's so important, and it seems insidious when you look at the story afar. But when you look at the details of the story, it tells us everything that is currently occurring in our economic system. As you know, when we came out of the pandemic, airlines were suffering because, again, people weren't traveling, etc. That is a foregone conclusion. But eventually, but let's remember this as well. The airlines got a whole lot of money through PPP and other programs that really kept them whole, monies that they never have to pay back. So, in effect, the idea was we give a lot of this money to these airlines and other corporations so that they will keep people employed even though they were not working. It was the way that you kept the economy going. I always tell people that, what they never tell you is every day, just think about today. I remember when a market crashes, everybody go into a panic and things change right away. a good government can say, we are going to freeze us at status quo. Nothing changes. Everybody is still employed. Everybody has what they need. Let's pause here and we will be able to continue living. That is what Biden and the Biden administration, and to some extent at the end of the Trump administration occurred. We paused. But what we did in that pause is said, keep everything the way it is until we clean these things up that materially affects the economy. And we, the government, we, the people, will keep the economic system primed while we settle things. And you know what? It worked. It worked. It worked. We populate, and we wasted a lot of money, yeah, because there are a lot of crooks that came along and took money away from the government. But we worked. Now, all these companies got monies to keep them afloat, specifically the large corporations. Now that's done, and we got to a status quo. Rates were high for flights until that normalized eventually. The flight prices dropped 6%, etc. But you know what? They learned from this thing that they did still have this stuff called pricing power. And this is not only about baggage. I'm just using the baggage as an example. They learned that they had this thing called pricing power. And I have a blog that I'm going to release some other time on pricing power. So what occurred? They said, well, you know, when we were doing the books, we can actually bring so much more to our stockholders and bonuses to our shareholders. Really, we can. Just nickel and dime. We found out that we could make $1 billion by charging for storage in the bottom of that plane, your luggage. But it's a bit more than that. If we start charging for luggage, people start using less luggage, which means they put less under the plane. The plane has more space and they can sell that whole. They can sell even more. So by restricting what people will put in their luggage and charge those who decide they must get their luggage other than that carry on, they reduce the space that they're using below, but they're getting more money, and at the same time they can sell that space to the United States Postal Service or special couriers or whatever. They make even more money. Last time it was on the order of $1 billion. And how is that manifested? Well, it's manifested now as the rates are going up for you to travel, and that is manifested as what they like to call inflation. And if it's manifested as inflation, then the American population get pissed off at the government because they said, oh, the government is the one causing inflation. All right. So that is where we are. Uh, Neil, you know what? While you're on the video, also, it would be good for you to call into the number 713-526-5738 because we have a sound problem. So if you have another phone that you can call into the number and they'll handle you in the studio. Now, again, here is the thing, folks. Here is the thing. That is manifested then as inflation. And sadly, then, we start to put the blame where it doesn't belong. Remember that show that I had with Richard Wolff, economist Richard Wolff, and we played it here at KPFT. And Richard Wolff said that ultimately inflation most times are simply caused by corporations. Corporations have the choice to raise prices. Corporations have all these choices. And you hear all the stories about supply chain, raw material going up, etc. It's never matches that when they raise the rates, the rate of meaning causing inflation, the rate of profits go up. But I'll continue this. I have Alistair on the line. Let's go to our sister Alistair. Alistair, good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing all right. Just wanted to give everybody a heads up. If you didn't know, the AT&T is having a nationwide outage, so that could cause a lot of communication problems. But that's
Oh,
not what. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just saw that when I woke up earlier and was like, "Oh, great, yep, that's a problem." I wanted to.
no.
I need to go off on a tangent with what happened in Alabama.
Yes,
Uh,
that's a story that we are covering this morning. But go ahead, please, Alistair.
I am so angry that people's rights are being taken away from them because those that want children are not going to be able to have children by their choice, by the method of their choice. And those that aren't wanting or aren't able to have a child due to whatever circumstance are going to be forced to have a child. And I just got to wonder, who is this benefiting? Who is this benefiting? Because it just looks cruel to me in the overall picture.
I'm going to be honest with you, Alistair. I sat and wondered myself. Put it this way: we have an election coming up in 2024. They are bringing up subjects like, where in vitro fertilization is no longer possible in Alabama. They're bringing up more controls on women's bodies. All these things that they're doing that to me seems like if people are listening, it is absolutely sure that that Republicans can't win in 2024. And I'm as baffled as you are that they're doing what they're doing, because it seems consistently or constantly that they're trying to be more in control of people's personal lives, something that was anathema to the Republican Party, a party that used to talk about individual rights, state rights, having the ability to own your own agency. This used to be a Republican thing. In fact, when they used to talk about the nanny state, was like, we want government out of everything. We want individuals. All that's what their mantra used to be. I don't know what is happening. And you're correct, Alistair. What is happening? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just aggravating, nauseating, and overall wrong.
Well,
100% wrong.
hmm the thing about it is, we don't, like I told a few callers a few weeks ago, we don't need to get scared. We don't need to get angry. We just need to act. We just need to act. And act means that what we're going to do is we're going to make sure and ask every person, irrespective of your ideology, your party affiliation or whatever. We just need to act. We need to ask ourselves, for every single person that we are going to vote for, what are their values and
Yeah,
what they support, and just vote those
yeah.
particular people in, because we are at a point now that is fairly dangerous. That's where we're at.
It's
Anything else,
not
Alison,
even
before I
elect.
continue?
Yes, it's not just elect people that represent our values. If nobody is representing you, if you are able to step up and be that voice and run for a local or any office that could start you to be able to be that voice for others.
Look, you're
I
absolutely
I am
right.
encouraging anybody and everybody that has it to step up and be that voice. And it just takes one step to get a
Right.
ball rolling.
That's absolutely true.
That's it.
Alistair, thank
That's it.
Alistair, thank you so kindly for your call and for your of course, always good info that you bring to us. And Neil Aquino, if Neil Aquino is able to call in by phone, it would be great. But thank you so kindly, Alistair. Before I go to Joe, Joe, I'm coming to you next. I just want to do a little bit of asking right here. Right now, Politics Done Right is at the Big Donut, Big Zero, and we need your calls. Please give us a call at 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. As we tell you all the time, we just cannot do this without you. We don't exist if you are not contributors to the program. Get a t-shirt. That is a $100 contribution for a t-shirt. And again, you don't have to pay it all at once, but you know what? It's a contribution. But I always tell, right, if you listen to what our general manager said just a few ago, we are looking for sustainers. Let me go ahead and jump to the studio for a second, and then we're going to pick you up, Joe. All right, go ahead. Studio.
I was just going to tell you to jump to Sandy.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say something about Alistair's comments about the Republican Party, what they used to be and what they
Please
are
do.
now. Well, I used to be a Republican. I thought it was the way to go. You know, oh,
Right.
the nanny state, all this other stuff. Holy cow, what do we have now? This is insane. I don't even recognize the Republican Party anymore, and I'm now an independent. So
Right.
there we
Well,
go.
you know
Sandy, are
what?
you
Yeah.
here?
I am here.
Okay.
And I'm triply amazed as you are and Egberto is. And then the other thing that I don't know if anybody heard it, the new chair of the Republican Party is going to be Trump's daughter, and she's enthusiastic about the GoFundMe for Donald Trump and the Republican Party paying the legal bills.
Yeah, hold the phone here.
This doesn't sound correct, is it, to anybody? This is getting more unhinged every day. This grift, this a complete holdup of the American public, or a good piece of it, it's criminal. It doesn't border on criminal. It's criminal. It's an open scam.
You have
Sandy,
to.
what do you think? Let me tell you what scares me. Okay, what scares me is when a large number of people wake up and realize that they've been had. That is one of my biggest concerns. Not what they're doing, but when people find out, oh my God, you mean this is what I was following for so long? I don't know. I don't know your thoughts on that, Sandy, but that is a fear that I have.
It's like being a Chicago Cub fan. I mean, come on, folks. Really? I want to hear from some Republican leaning, from some conservative leaning people this morning as we continue these discussions with Egberto. I want to have a community conversation around this. I'm struggling to understand the mindset of accepting as a leader, if you will, a rapist, a fraud, and soon to be a convicted felon if everything we're hearing sounds right surrounding evidence, such as top secret documents in the bathroom, etc. I mean, it's just right out there in the open, and they're telling you, don't trust your eyes, don't trust anything you hear except for what I'm telling you. What does that sound like? That can't be what an educated voting populace has to cotton to. That's not leadership.
It sounds absolutely insane to me. And can we possibly ask some of these, donors to Trump's campaign, why are you paying his legal bills? You know that's where your money's going. It's going to lawyers. It's not going to him or the campaign.
Millions and millions of dollars, too. Millions of dollars. I mean, KPFT is trying to, let me put this in perspective. KPFT over a 22-day period is trying to raise $150,000. The legal bills that were just added, if I saw correctly on the news, were like $6-7 million just recently, and we're nowhere near done. $6-7 million for lawyers. This isn't reality. This is a complete different planet than the ones I think that we're living on. Call on in, 713-526-5738. Hit option 2 to be connected to the studio, option 1 to donate to this program and to KPFT, the essential voice in Houston, Texas for going on 54 years. We need the support during this program. This audience is building. Egberto, I don't know if you are a fan of checking your online numbers, but I'm incredibly impressed at what has doubled or tripled since you began doing politics right during this hour. So
Well,
it's a remarkably strong audience out there, and that's because of your good work and getting up early and bringing this program to the airwaves. So folks, acknowledge that little bit, setting the alarm every morning and getting online and doing this. Acknowledge Howard waking up even earlier to drive in and make sure that, as he puts it, all the tin cans and string are in the right place connected. And like this morning, it doesn't always go exactly as planned, but somehow it always goes. Acknowledge that effort with a small pledge. That $100 t-shirt, that can be gotten on monthly payments. And that comes out, I don't have a chart in front of me, but it's a little over $8 a month. I want to say $8.33 a month will get you a $100 pledge annually to KPFT, and we'll send that t-shirt on good faith that those payments that you're signed up to make will be made. And if it's a sustaining pledge, your pledge is going to be matched with a $50 bill. That's right. I mean, this is how KPFT has survived over the years, and we continue to survive, and I hope thrive. It's a long way from thriving right now in terms of the economics. We are thriving on the airways with 100,000 watts and a bunch of you listening. So maybe a few of you could help us to our $400 goal this morning. 713-55738 or kpft.org and click donate. Go, Egberto.
Yeah, Sandy, I just wanted to add, not $1 will go to a lawyer. All of the dollars that you give to KPFT go to operations and keeping us on the air.
In truth and transparency, one of the biggest bills we pay is central services, and that includes legal services for Pacifica and, of course, KPFT. Fortunately, we haven't really had a need except for an FCC lawyer recently, which again, paid by central services, for the reason that our Galveston transmitter at 89.5 is up and running, and we had to mark a new location for our antenna. So that paperwork had to be filed, and there you go. Not millions and millions of dollars, but thousands.
We are frugal.
Back to the show.
We are frugal with your dollars. So 713-526-5738 extension 1. Folks, politics done right is at 0. And you see the guy that was just talking, Sandy, or general manager, only when you continue to support us can he see that it's worthwhile having the show. And, again, that's what it does. But brother Joe is on. I think Joe, if this is a Joe I'm thinking about, Joe is a Republican. Joe, is that the Joe I'm thinking about? Come on in, Joe.
Morning. Yeah, it's Joe Big Oil. Yeah, but the Republican Party is not really our friend. It's really the same thing as the Democrat Party, right? If you haven't noticed, there's a war going on within the Republican Party, right? And there's this term that I really don't like, the term rhino or libtard or any of these silly words that people throw around. But, Republican in name only is what it stands for. In other words, they're undercover Democrats, right? When it comes down to it, they will vote with the Democrats on something ridiculous, right? So to answer your question, why are the Republicans shooting themselves in the foot? Because those are the establishment Republicans, right? That honestly, they would do anything for Trump not to win. If you notice, Fox News was the first station to call Arizona for Biden, right? Who did the Bushes support? They supported Biden. Who does every major traditional Republican support? It ain't Trump, right? It's a big club, and Trump ain't in it, to quote George Carlin, right? So when you tug on Superman's cape like that, he's got the full force of the United States government coming down on him right now, right? And they're coming at him from every angle, right? Number one, the case where it's like a president can be held legally responsible for his actions. That will never stand once this election is over. Obama wouldn't have wanted that. Clinton, no president wants that, but it's convenient to have now, right? The top secret documents, right? Well, a president can classify and declassify things at will, right? I don't know what he had or whatever. No one does. But and not to throw a whataboutism out there, but they found the same type of stuff in Biden's garage if he wasn't president, and with the power to declassify top secret documents. But did they go after him? Did they go after his son? No, they go after his accusers, right? So anyway, that's to answer your question. Why are the Republicans doing this? Because they don't want Trump to win. They want to maintain the status quo.
Oh, okay, let me just come back a bit, Joe, and tell you that my thing is I'm listening to what you're saying, right? And the thing that I always find interesting is within truths that you're articulating, there is Trump. All right, there's a hell of a lot of truth in what you had to say about establishment, but then there's Trump. And let me first tell folks what I accept as the truth. I accept as the truth that we have an establishment that gives the country a certain direction, whether you're Republican or Democrat. People get upset when they say the establishment is one and in the same. If you take a look at the donors to both parties, you can actually see what you're saying. But then we deviate into Trumpism. And what I try to get out of you did use some whataboutism, right? In other words, you did try to equate, let's say, the papers that Trump had with the papers that Biden had with the papers that Pence have. There is a huge difference there, but I don't want to go into that because that will detract from where I really want to go with you. My question, forget about all of that. My question is, for all the things that we know factually that Trump did from before he attempted to become president, I would assume you know that too. I would assume that you know that Donald Trump had a thing called a fake university that really wasn't really a university and had to pay $25 million to people. I would assume you know that. I would also assume that you know that he did have a charity. We always call him a grifter. Those of us who don't like him, you like him. Granted, those of us who don't like him call him a grifter because he, find all these different ways to get money. He had a charity that was supposed to be donating, giving their monies to the indigent, etc. And it was factually proved that he pocketed the money. And we have item after item of doing that. He is a businessman who built casinos, and the people that did the work, the carpentry and all of that, didn't pay them, right? I mean, we can go things that other presidents haven't done from Mr. Trump. And for those things that are proven, not the new things that have come since he's been president, I just don't understand the pull to a person that has done so much wrong. And that is, I think, the real question for you, Joe. And that is, first of all, do you accept that he had a false university? Do you accept that he took money out of the charity? Do you accept those things, first of all?
I think that it's possible. I haven't looked into it, but I know he's. I don't like that type of person. I don't like a New York real estate developer. Right? That's just not on my list of positive character traits. But he is the lesser of two evils, right?
I need to stop you right there because I promise I'll let you continue. No. I'm gonna let you continue. I just need to ask for money. I'm gonna let you continue, but time's going, and since this is a long conversation, I got to break it a bit. Folks, please, we're going to continue with Brother Joe here, but please call 713-526-5738. I am still at 0, and we are at 38 after the hour. I ask you kindly, you see what we bring you. You see we bring the conversation. So whether you're on the right or the left, this is a program that we ask you to support because we really genuinely want to have the conversation, and it is your show. As you can see, it really is your Joe, isn't it your show as well, Joe?
It is, and I want to remind everybody, all my brothers and sisters working in the Baytown and Mont Belvieu area today, your employer 9 times out of 10 will match your contribution to KPFT, right? They give me a voice, they'll give you a voice, And so, I say donate and have your employer match it, because I'm pretty sure they will if you work out here.
Thank you, my brother. Okay, let me let you continue. You were talking. So, folks, please give us a call now. 713-526-5738, extension 1. Donate, and if you want to call in, call in. But I am at 0. Sandy's going to say, better shut the hell up and bring some money into the station. Joe, continue, my brother.
Man, I'm going to have to drop you another 50, Egberto. God dang it. Hey,
well, drop it. Drop it. Go ahead.
So yeah, Trump's not my favorite character, but you know what? He's not a lifetime career criminal. He's if anything, I would rather have a small time or a medium time grifter who understands that you can't borrow forever. I would rather have that than a parasite on the government, which the Clinton family, the Biden family, all of the establishment really pretty much is. It's a parasite on our necks. And if I have to vote for, evil incarnate to get rid of them, then I will.
Joe, you just hit a very important factor that I think those of us who know what we know have to take into consideration with people who support Trump like you. And that is, what I hear from you is you want to stick it to the damn system because there was so much that is wrong as you concern both the Democratic and the Republican Party alike, and you guys are trying to stick it to the system, and that is the thing that has to get overcome, because that's everything that I'm hearing out of you. You are willing to go against your morals, and you just said it, right? And that is because of you want to stick it. So, folks that are listening out there, this is something that I've written some blogs about. When people talk about we just need to get to these people, because Joe ain't stupid. All these people that are doing this, they're doing it in a. I said I'm going to blow the system up, but what I'm saying to you now, Joe, what I'm saying to you now is that this sticking it to the system hurts a whole lot of folk. That's all I'm going to tell you, and it hurts a lot. We have to get certain places incrementally, but sticking it to the system hurt the folks. But look, Joe, we got some other calls. Another Joe. So go. I'm going to let you go. Go ahead.
Let me one more thing. One thing.
Go, real quick.
I'm not about sticking it to the man. That's short term, right? Really, I'm trying to avoid a war, which is what I see coming, right?
Unfortunately, Joe, there is a. Let me tell you something, okay? Pushback is a doozy. And for those people who are saying that part about war, we got to talk about that, because you got a point there that we need to talk about. But I talk to you another day, Joe. Hey, folks, give us a call, 713-526-5738, extension 1. I am at 0, guys. Where are my peeps? Please. This is how we keep the station and the dialogue alive. Hey, let me jump to Augie, then other Joe. So let's jump to Augie. Augie's been waiting for a while. Augie, come on in, my brother.
I'm awake
yes,
now, so
you're
I'm
awake.
glad you're still on the air. But I was about these people complaining about the Democrats. FDR, when we started to have a depression, he told people all we have to fear is fear itself. And he helped bring us out of the depression, and he helped a whole lot of people. He brought electricity out to the rural area, and a lot of people out in the countryside, and they never had electricity before until FDR had all these programs. And Obama, when he was president, the auto industry was about ready to cave in, and so was the financial sector. And Obama saved the auto industry and the financial sector. And Biden, he's got all these plans. He had a plan for the border, but the Republicans are blocking him from doing it. And the Republicans don't have any plan at all. They're saving it for Trump. And Trump, he's going to court not because he's a Republican, because of his politics, but because he's a crook and he's a bad guy. And we don't need bad guys and cowards and draft dodgers running our country. They talk about how they're so pro-military. Besides all the other things Trump did, he also had a thing about a fund to help the veterans and the disabled veterans. and he kept all the money to himself. He didn't help any veteran at all until it was brought out. Hey, man, you said you were going to help the veterans, but you're keeping all the money to yourself. And finally, because of that, he let go a little bit of that money that was donated to him to help veterans. And
Augie, while all of that is right, I used to have this term that I use. I was about to say my, but it's a term that I used to use that says being right, meaning being correct, is not enough, right? All these programs that Democrats have passed from the days of FDR, etc., is what saved rural America and all over the place, right? But one of the things that we have to cop to is, and I mean, I try my best in doing my little part for whatever I can do, is reach people where they are. I can go ahead and enumerate all the reasons why, and by the way, everything you just said were the progressive mantra, right? I can go ahead and talk about all of that. But unless I reach them where they are from, disconnecting from their source of information, it won't get done. And that's why I try to take the stance that I take. That's why you see, Joe comes in here. I get a chance to see how his mind is going, and we can have a conversation. But anyway, anything else, Augie? My lines are starting to fill up. By the way, thank you for that thing you gave at 12:16 today. You're a good man. Thank you, my brother.
Yeah, well, and I would tell everybody now is a great opportunity to help this station. I remember I started listening because of the music, but then I started listening to other shows like yours, and we have all kind of shows like a doctor coming on with the medical advice, and people are free to call in. It's funny. All right. She's an OB/GYN. Most of the people calling in are men calling in for their girlfriends, for their wives. But anyway, yeah, there's a great opportunity to help this station. And
Augie, I gotta go. Thank you, and I appreciate what you do. 713-526-5738, extension 1. Folks, guess what? Politics done right is still at 0. 713-526-5738. Who is going to be the first? Well, we have a first-time caller here. Billy, please call, and then I'm going to other Joe, and then Brian. Come on, Billy, come on in.
Hey, morning, y'all. I've been listening, y'all, yesterday and this morning, talking about Trump. Now, he ain't no good, but he is better than what we got. I, for one, ain't never been ripped off by him. And, well, he kept us out of wars, and he had our border, 10 hut where people wasn't coming over and terrorists wasn't coming over. And Biden, he got us the laughing stock of the world now. Letting all them bisexuals, whatever you want to call them, get on the White House lawn, shake their tits and everything out to everybody. Let girls go in the military and dress like men, dressing like women and everything in the military. And man, that just ain't right. Now, I ain't saying.
Hey, Billy, can I ask you something really? Billy, can I ask you, where do you, what TV stations and radio stations do you listen to mostly? First of all, thank you for listening to KPFT, but what stations do you listen to?
Well, when I'm on the road like now, I listen to y'all because I'm a truck driver. When I'm at home, I listen to Newsmax. Newsmax is pretty decent tell-all news station.
Look, I'm not going to have the time to really talk to you about what you said because I know that narrative, and that's a narrative that I hear a lot. But here's what I want to ask you to do. When you're in the Houston area, in between these hours, 6 and 7 in the morning, when this program is on, and by the way, we're going to 7:15 today, folks. We're going to 7:15 today. So please keep calling, and please, we need your contributions now. But anyway, Billy, I want you to keep listening to this program, calling in, and we'll talk. But I hear you, all right? But we'll talk. I got to get some more information into you, but you listen.
Day.
All right, I appreciate you. Okay.
All day, I drive here in Houston. I listen to y'all all day. You and Outlaw Day in the afternoon's my favorites.
All right. Well, good. I hope you're a consistent listener of the program, and we'll talk more about the things that you say from the cross dress and all that good stuff. We can't do it all at once though. We got to do it a piece at a time. Okay.
Yes, well, I was just reminding people, no, Trump ain't no angel, but he ain't also the devilish heathen everybody's putting him out to be. No, I don't like him.
But guess what, Billy? What you just said
Uh,
is so important because for those of us who want you to vote progressive, right? When somebody and we think that we're going to do it by telling you how bad Trump is, which in my opinion he is bad, and you admit that he is bad as well. We have to get to you where you can start believing that there is better out there. But we'll talk another time, Billy. All right? Thank you, Billy. All right, let's go back to the studio, and then I'm there with Joe and then Brian. Come on in studio.
I just wanted to apologize to the other Joe because I hung up on him. He called back with a note and was talking to me, and I pressed the wrong button. So, Joe, sorry I hung up on you. Now back to the show.
I see other Joe still there. Is that the other Joe again?
No, this was
Let's
Joe
go to.
Big Oil that I hung up on.
Oh, okay. Let's go to other Joe, and then so Joe Big Oil, give us a call back, Joe Big Oil. All right, come on in, other Joe.
Hello, Alberto.
How are you doing,
Tell me,
sir?
what is the winning strategy to talk about Trump? This is, to me, it's amazing that with all the experience that CNN had putting Trump on the program all that time, they gave him the election last time, and you're doing the same thing by talking about him now.
Okay,
Talk
let me
about
ask you.
Jill Stein. Let me give me a minute. Jill Stein
Okay.
is running a terrific record. She's got Cornel West probably is going to run along with her now. There's something positive to talk about, and all you talk about is Trump. The guys, even the right wing, is call up and say they don't like Trump. Give them something positive to talk about. Thank you.
Okay, now Joe, don't leave. Let me tell you why. I gotta go where the people are, right? And that's what I think I said earlier. What I said was you got to meet people where they are. And you know all this stuff, Joe. I mean, no doubt about it. My question to you is how do we reach these other folks if you're not going to talk to where they are? We can talk about Jill Stein. Look, I just interviewed Cornel West. I played it right here you know that, right? I played it here at the station.
That's good. That's good.
All right. I didn't only play Cornel West, I also played his speech. So I am doing these other things, but again,
with the
I'm sorry.
libertarians and the other. Do the same with the libertarian. Bring him in. Let him give the third parties a chance. That's what this radio station is all about. To give the other parties a chance.
Joe, I have a question for you. I have a question with third parties for you. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess we have a delay. Joe, Joe, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I interviewed Marianne Williamson. I brought her here on KPFT. I interviewed Cornel West. I brought it here on KPFT. So I am given the platform, just like I said, to everybody, right? I mean, whatever little I can do. My question to you is this: how do we reach people if we're not going where they are? You may be enlightened to understand that Williamson's policies and Cornel West's policies are better. And my question to everybody who wants me to concentrate on third parties, my question is, please show me the way as far as from an electoral point of view. How can they be elected? And you know what has not happened yet, Joe? Nobody has been able to show me. And look, I think I'm fairly politically savvy. I would love to see some of these people. I don't see how. I think it would be what do you call that thing? Not irresponsible. It will be I can't remember the word, but it would be irresponsible for me to just do that to have people jump on a bandwagon that can't happen based on how we're structured. That's all, Joe. You and I were supposed to go out to coffee and speak about this.
Okay, let me point out an example. Here, Augie was on there. He started making the case for the Democratic Party with RFK, and I fully agreed with him. Then he went into Obama, and he says, look at wonderful things. He bailed out the banks. He bailed out GM. That wasn't wonderful for the people. That was wonderful for the 0.1%. That was
And
the
that's why
reason that
and Trump did that as well. Trump did that. Obama did that. Biden did that. Look at PPP.
I don't think you should talk about either.
Okay.
They didn't work for the people.
Joe, I need to jump to Brian, brother Joe, but here's the deal.
Right.
We still have our coffee to drink, all right? Let's go to Brian. Come on in, Brian.
Okay. Well, first off, FDR did nothing to pull us out of the Great Depression. Absolutely nothing. When he took office in 1932, the unemployment rate was 23%. In 1937, it was 19%. If you look at the reemployment rate between FDR and Reagan, Reagan had a higher reemployment rate. Okay? The top tax rate from FDR was 94%. Kennedy lowered it to 70%, which stirred the growth economically from the 70s to the 70s. Okay? And Obama, he didn't bail out the banks. That was under Bush. Too big to fail program. You remember that?
Yeah.
It wasn't Obama. Obama took the deficit from 9 trillion to 19 trillion. Okay? Your facts about this progressive, let's spend money and get us out of an economic depression is totally wrong. It didn't happen. If you let the market work its way out, you're not $23 trillion in debt.
Okay, Brian, listen to me now. First of all, I wrote the book called As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. Let me tell you the places that you're not correct. While the law was passed in the latter months of the Bush administration, it was in fact implemented and continued by Obama. That is a statement of fact that is verifiable. Secondly, that FDR didn't get us out of the depression. That is, I don't want to say that is debatable, and the only reason I say that's debatable is because World War II brought so much production out of the United States that that played a factor in recovering from the depression, but it's even deeper than that. We have to realize, however, that the allocation of resources, which the market was unable to do, I repeat, the allocation of resources because of this vast size of the country and because manufacturing is not centralized or even the rural areas and all these places were left out of the recovery in the from the depression, and had it absent the work done by Roosevelt for building electricity, building dams, and so forth, right? That would not have occurred. So what I'm saying is the following, Brian. There's a lot of schools of thoughts out there that tries to take away what FDR actually did. And interestingly, the places that really benefited the most, well, relatively speaking, the most from FDR are the places where an economy recovering from a depression don't see, and that is in rural areas that got all the support that they got. And for the longest time, that's one of the reasons they were Democrats, because it is FDR who solved all those problems. When it comes to other issues like how did the depression get started in the first place, if you take a look at what we do in the financial sector by letting the market run amok, that is a direct result of what occurred in the depression. So what I'm saying, Brian, is we have a lot of times where they attempt to rewrite history. And if you take a look at, I can look at I sent a message to CNN a few times when they were talking about FDR, and I showed them the chart that occurs when FDR for one segment tried to implement when Republicans were on his case about fiscal responsibility, when he ran away from Keynesian economics for this 2-year period, the economy faltered. And that is one thing I have to give Biden credit for. Biden spent a lot of money. He spent a lot of deficit spending, but you know what he did? You see how the economic numbers are right now? They're there because he followed the rules of an economic system, the Keynesian economic system, along with modern monetary theory. And guess what it did? It prevented, and I can give the mathematical reason why it occurred. It kept us from going into the recession that all of you were talking about. Augie, thank you so kindly for your contribution. Folks, please go ahead and join Augie. Augie is a great supporter of this station, and he constantly gives and gives and gives. Could we get some more? And we're at the hour. This is KPFT 90.1 FM Houston. Thank you so kindly for sticking with us. We're going to stick around a little bit longer. Folks, give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to contribute. Hey, why don't you give us before you answer my question, Brian, I like when every now and then one of our listeners ask our folks to do what they've done, contribute to the station like you have, Brian. Why don't you ask the audience for us?
No, I always do. I'm the voice of opposition. If you just hear one side of the story, you're not going to get the true facts. And part of the true facts was there was a Great Depression worldwide. There was the Dust Bowl days. That started the economic downturn when the farmers could not sell their crops. Okay? I believe it was Stanley Morgan Dean Witter or some financial institute was getting 250 resumes per day in 1935. So no, FDR did not bring us out of the Great Depression. In 1937, the world pretty much went to war. All right. And we should have had thousands and thousands of jobs, military-wise, supplying countries with military weapons. We had the Lend-Lease program. What have we got now? We're giving Ukraine $120 billion. We're getting nothing in return. At least during FDR.
Brian, I always say that there is always some truth into when you speak, when people speak, and that is what makes the conversation sometimes dangerous. But hold on, Brian, I got to get the general manager in. I'm not done, but let's go ahead. Come on in, Sandy.
Thank you. For those listening, you've noticed the time is a couple minutes past 7. We're going a little bit longer today with this lively conversation, and we're hoping that you'll join in not only on the air, but with your dollars at 713-526-5738, option 1. The service that answers the phone for us, the Great Pledge Center and virtual space, they're having a little problems with their script, pulling up their scripts this morning. And I spoke to them and said, well, go off script because people are going to donate whether you read from a piece of paper or not if they're calling. Folks, do call. Join Frederick and Augie in supporting KPFT today. We need your call. We need to collect the funds to get to May. This is how we do it. And this conversation this morning is really healthy. Keep it coming, folks. We'll join Democracy Now! In Progress about a quarter past. Go for it, Egberto.
Thank you very much, Sandy. Brian, you were talking, but I want to ask you something. I mean, facts are facts, right? Okay. And facts are facts. And what I want, and this is what I ask everybody, whether you're left or right, is first of all, are you stuck on your ideology and want to try to bend the facts to fit that ideology? Or are you really, really open to say, maybe you are right on that point, you're wrong on that point, you're right. That is where I want conversations to go. Because let me tell you frankly, I have been wrong on certain points, and I come on air and I make sure to let folks know, that wasn't the case. This is what it is. Are you there yet? Are you able at some point to, let's say, get over the animosity that you have for us Democrats and say, Egberto, that one I can agree with? Are you there?
I already did. I told you at least during FDR's administration, we had the Lend-Lease program. we got some land for the billions of dollars that we give Britain. Okay,
Now,
I'm sure you have dollars and you have other things to say.
yeah,
I've actually been to your station. I've donated before. I've been to the station at 419 Lovett Boulevard. I walked in a donation back when they had one called, his name was Glenn Urbach on the other side. And I've been on your radio station. He offered me up a chance to speak. I've been to the station. I can explain the 419 Lovett Boulevard. You walk in, there's the woman buzz you in.
No, I believe you. I believe you, Brian. I believe you. And not only that, you're a contributor to my show. So I know that you put your money where your mouth is. I know that. So I want to thank you for that. You keep calling and we'll keep having the conversation. All right, brother?
All right, I'll do that. I've seen the transformer, by the way. It's in a glass case. It was on the right side of the staircase. I've been there.
There you go. All right. I love you, brother. You have a good one. We'll keep talking. We're going to get to some point. Have a good one, Brian.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
All right. Harry, you've been on waiting for 38 minutes. Talk to me.
Well, good morning, Roberto. We have to donate to KPFT. I'm mailing my contribution in today, so you should get it next week. Well, I like what Augie had to say, and I like what the second Joe had to say. But like I said, for people who don't know who Trump is, and you were telling the first Joe, had he seen, did he know about the fake university about Trump? Well, like I've been harping on, when you get a chance, play that Mitt Romney speech, play Marion Trump, his niece, videos, when you can do some shows on that, to educate people about who Donald Trump really is. And I also like what Alice said. Go ahead.
Alice was great.
Yeah, I was going to comment that abortion is on the ballot. Arnie Arneson was talking about it when I was listening to her show in the last half hour before your show came on. It's on the ballot. She's right about that with Alabama. And Arnie Arneson was talking about how women don't want, I should say women who want to have control over their bodies and have the right to choose. They want the right to choose. They need to vote in more progressives, because, like I said on Steve Hunter's show yesterday, if Trump is somehow able to win, and we get a larger Republican Senate, they get control of the Senate again, and we get with the Grand Wizard at the helm, and Mike Johnson is at the helm at the House, they will try to pass a bill that will do a national abortion ban in this country. And and I believe in a woman's right to control her own body, and I believe in DEI as well. And it's just women should have the right to have control over their own body. And I think, obviously, I've spoken about this on other occasions, that a man can also help them make that decision if they have a situation where they feel they need to terminate the pregnancy.
Hey,
I think a man
Harry,
can have his opinion.
I agree with you, but here's the one thing that I want to tell you, and I want all our progressive listeners to hear this, right? Because I think Joe, number one, the first Joe, Joe the oil man, Brian, and a few other conservatives that call the show, there is nothing more we can tell them about Trump that they don't know. Okay, really. There's nothing more we can tell them about Trump that they don't know. They know about Trump. We have to remind others about Trump, but Joe, Brian, and others know about him. But they have such a disdain for the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, etc., that they are willing to burn the house down to get there. So my way of asking if we can reach this way is, and second Joe, my second Joe, my brother that called in, and he gives me hell for giving time to Trump. What I think is there is a place. Yeah, there is a place. There's a place, but I got to go pitch, Harry. But I want to finish this, but we got to go pitch.
Okay.
We'll talk tomorrow. We'll talk tomorrow because we only have a few minutes.
I just want to make one more. You do
real quick.
Give everybody a platform. You talk about the third party. You talked about my candidate, Cornel West.
Right.
I listened to the interview. I listened to Stephen Tucker.
Thank you,
That's
brother.
who I'm. You do try to get everybody's who everybody is interested in voting for.
Harry, I gotta go pitch. I appreciate your voice. I appreciate your kudos. Sandy, please come on in, my brother.
Yes, thank you. Enthusiastic callers are welcomed, and it is a time crunch because we are in fund drive. This conversation that we're having this morning with everybody calling in and with Egberto is only possible because the transmitter's on. Transmitter's on because we're paying the tower rental and the electric bill and all the other bills that allow everything to work in mesh, and that requires money. The root of all evil, the root of everything that you're hearing this morning is not evil, but it is powered by the almighty dollar. It's been an interesting morning on the pledge table so far. Augie did drop a pledge right near midnight, and then Frederick came in, and Frederick's from Canterbury, New Hampshire, not Houston. And welcome, New Hampshire. Welcome, Frederick. Thank you for that sustaining pledge. His name will be put in the hat. And then Marshall D called in from Austin, did about the same thing, sustaining pledge. Marshall, thank you for that. So we've had 3 pledges in all of Thursday so far, 3, and all 3 sustainers. So I guess we're talking to you and you're understanding that if enough of you do this, these fund drives dissipate. We'll start to reduce the time it takes to hit goals and the time it takes to be on the air asking. So join in. Don't let this program, don't let this station go untendered. For those of you listening, you probably are a fan of the left side of the dial, if I might call it that, the commercial-free band with independent radio on it, such as KPFT. Many, many stations are going by the wayside for lack of funding. Don't let KPFT be one of those. Please jump in. We've had, these are our new members, by the way, this morning. Frederick and Marshall, welcome into KPFT. Thank you for that. Setting a good example. But they're not from Houston. Where is Houston? Where is Spring? Where is the Woodlands? Where's Richmond Rosenberg? Where's League City? Where are you folks? Come on. This is a great conversation. This is a great station. This is a great city that needs this kind of media. And we need you. 713-526-5738. Option 1, kpft.org. Egberto?
Yes, absolutely, folks. If we get to these numbers, right? Just think about it. We get rid of this, and we can keep folks like both Joes and Brian and Harry and Tina and Teresa and Melissa and all these folks that call in with their point of view. We get a chance to get more time for them, but again, we have to. Only way we can stay on the station is if you call in. And today has been a meager day for politics done right. I must admit, it's a meager day for politics done right. And you can change that right now by calling 713-526-5738. If you have never given, just think about how good it will be. $5 a month, a drink a month, a coffee a month that you won't miss, but it'll mean a bunch to us. A couple of coffees a month, $10 a month. That means so much to this station, because if we get a few thousand people doing that, we can cover all our bills on a monthly basis. Again, all of us come here para nada. We come here for free to make sure that we can provide this stuff. I've got 2 more minutes before we jump into democracy now. 713-526-5738. Please go ahead and hit that number 1 and contribute now. I guarantee you will feel better as well. You'll feel like, you know what? I am in this community. I am part of this community. And I have a place that I get a platform. Notice everybody says the same thing. They come here and they get an honest way to express themselves. Nowhere else gives you that latitude. 713-526-5738. Let me throw it back to the studio.
Egberto, we've got about another 5 minutes to go here. So if anyone would like to call with a comment, 713-526-5738. Extension number 2 will get you to the studio. Extension number 1 will get you to our donation center. And Sandy, are you online with us?
I am.
Okay.
Apparently, the AT&T outage hasn't reached here.
Oh, good
Although
deal.
I think I pay my bill to someone else every month. In fact, I know I do because it's always a different amount and it's always going up. Inflation for sure. Hey, folks, we've been talking to you for a few minutes this morning, a very lively conversation on display, KPFT at its finest, being the bridge to dialogue or creating dialogue, which is the bridge to peace amongst us. It's good to hear from some of the conservatives and their views. It's good to hear people explain why they're thinking the way they're thinking. You know, if we can have these conversations on the air, and one or two of you, just one or two out of all the thousands of people listening, go away with the mindset, maybe I should consider those thoughts that I heard today, and maybe I can come to a different conclusion about my pointed views, as we all have these days, so it would seem, then KPFT has done its job. Food for thought is an expression that I love. This is food for thought in front of you, unfolding in real time, right here on Politics Done Right and on KPFT every day. This is worth keeping around in Houston. Now, only 2 people have called in to support this show this morning, neither one from anywhere close to Houston, Austin, and Canterbury, New Hampshire. Love to hear from some of you right around town here. Love to hear from a couple of you. And oh, by the way, we're still significantly short of our $400 goal. So please, folks, in the last few minutes here, show that you support KPFT, show that you value Politics Done Right and these great conversations that do give everybody equally, regardless of your political affiliation and other choices in life, a platform to have these dialogues, these conversations. Oh, so essential. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. $120 pledge gets you a pound of Colombian Supremo beans from Lola Savannah and a coffee mug, the Caroline Street coffee mug, designed by our own Jill Morgenstern. And I hope if Jill's listening, she's doing well on the road to recovery. And, you know, that's a great gift. You can be sipping the coffee and listening to your device or FM radio and joining in these conversations all at once. As we say, that Lola Savannah allows you to drink like a DJ. 713-526-5738 or kpft.org, Egberto.
Yes, absolutely. Look, folks, if you go, look, guess what? We can get to my goal real quick. Not my goal, our station goals for this program. Coffee with Egberto. That's a $250 contribution. If you can swing it, I would love to do that. I'll drive any part of the Harris County or the Houston metropolitan area, meet you for coffee. We sit down and talk, and we have healthy conversations. And I guarantee you, we'll enjoy each other's company for this conversation. A cup of coffee, 2 citizens just sitting down, having a cup of coffee. That's a $250 contribution. Please also remember, though, we really want to get those sustainers in. $5 a month, $10 a month, $15 a month. Those of you who can swing it. Look, we complain many times if those people who watch Fox News or MSNBC, we're all fighting each other, etc. They make money out of keeping people fighting. I want us to show, and this is, again, my history was with the coffee party. My history was the coffee party was this group, this transpartisan group that wants to get people talking. We don't need to be at each other's throats. You know, people piss me off too. Yes, they do. But I realize that when that happens, it's other forces that are working. Folks, let's contribute to this institution that's trying to bring folks together. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. I got to wrap it up here, I'm told. So, folks, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank Sandy for helping us out. Actually, Sandy for really help bring this station back. Howard for being the constructor, the technical constructor of this station. And, of course, our brother that's away right now, El Senor Van Beber. To the audience, you guys make this show. It is your show. And to the callers, love you all. Let me swing it real quick to Howard and then come back. Howard.
Okay, that's about it for me. We got to join democracy now. And Egberto, wrap it up.
My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
And whatnot. Their clinics are like, hey, this is a day-by-day thing, and we will let you know when we have a statement. And it just seems that there's
Good deal.
and a lot of confusion right now.
Barbara, could you explain exactly how
I'm going to go to the can real quick, and I'll be right back.
this ruling will impact
Do you need me
Jack's not
anymore?
in today.
treatment in Alabama?
Sure. The goal of IVF is a healthy baby, and they do that by stimulating the woman's ovaries. They do a surgical procedure where they retrieve eggs. Those eggs are put in a petri dish in a laboratory. They then are fertilized with sperm. The laboratory personnel watch that petri dish over the next few days. After 3 days, they assess the embryos. After 5 days, they assess those embryos. If the embryos at day 5 look to be
recording stopped.